Welcome in, everyone. It is playoff time and for fantasy football. Thank you for joining us. My teams are. I'm in a few playoffs. I think I got a first round bye in a couple of my redraft leagues, so that's pretty awesome. A couple dynasty teams really got hit hard by the injury bug and bye weeks there at the end, so they dropped out. So that's disappointing. At least I got a better draft pick for that what's looking like a stellar 2023 draft class, which I'm sure we could spend a lot of time on right now, but we won't. Maybe one day
Ooh, don't tempt me.
we'll have a little shindig about that and maybe talk about our favorite prospects there. But Eric, how are your playoff
Oh
implications for
boy.
your league teams?
Well, I went to the Arizona Cardinals Patriots game to do some scouting ahead of fantasy football playoffs, and I did not like what I saw with my fantasy baby Kyler Murray, my team of destiny that has been blessed with the number 2 seed, so I have a bye, but it's the team of destiny going in the wrong direction. Lamar Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyler Murray, Mike White. But this is a super flex league, so it's it's not looking good. We're gonna have to take some time on this bye week and regroup, maybe hold some public tryouts for quarterback,
Hey,
see
at
what
least
comes
you
up
earned
next
the
week.
bye week and you have that extra week to really heal up, rest up, and be strong for your first game.
Yeah, we'll do some finagling. We might do wildcat offense. We'll figure it out.
I like it. I like it. Patrick, what about you? How are your teams looking?
Uh, Not terrible. Two Dynasty League playoffs, one of which I do have the number 1 seed, so first round bye, which is always a win. Unfortunately, Debo was one of my top receivers in that one, so we'll see how playoffs line up for that. Two redraft leagues made the playoffs, so excited for those to get started this week. And then I had one heartbreak. I needed 6 points from Kyle Murray Monday night to
Oof.
win a matchup to grab the last playoff spot. Obviously, he did not do that. So, very disappointed. But, hey, fantasy heartbreak
It happens. It happens. Kind
happens.
of reminds me of I don't know how big into like college basketball DFS y'all are, or if y'all are that much of a degenerate as I am, but there was one time where I think it was Prize Picks. They ran a like basically a free square where Zion Williamson only had to get like point 0.5 fantasy points. It was the night his shoe blew out and he sprained like his MCL and then was done like in the
Oof.
first 30 seconds. They ended up doing right and they just counted it anyway, but he scored 0 fantasy points that game. And
Man.
that was, I think, when I swore I would never do college basketball DFS again.
Yes, that's a good thing.
So, well, before we get too far into this, I do want to say rest in peace to Mike Leach. That was just kind of a big shock out of nowhere for the college football all world. Um, he really changed the game with how he sees offense and air raid, and it's he's going to be missed in the college football world. So rest in peace to him. Thoughts and prayers for his family. Just kind of wanted to mention that, and yeah, hopefully he's having fun interviews in the afterlife. So um, let's get into our flag plants from last week. We had Huntley, which ended up getting a concussion pretty early on in the game, so that sucks. I said Zeke on the show, and he pretty much came through. But y'all yelled at me and said that wasn't fair. So then we said Greg Dortch, and that looked bad. But supposedly he had a really nice punt return, something like
He
that,
did.
Eric, right?
Yeah. The punt return was stellar, and I think Cliff Kingsbury gave him a pat on the back. So I think you might have just been 1 week ahead. I think this week's probably his week.
Dang. There's a lot of people out there that would like Cliff Kingsbury to give him a pat on their back. But um, let's see. Judy, he went off. Good for him.
Jerry Beauty. He showed that he could be wide receiver one if every time he touches the ball he scores a touchdown.
Hey, it's the Christian Watson approach.
Yeah, works.
I'm not complaining.
He was like, oh, that rookie's doing it. Why don't I try doing that?
Oh
And
yeah, touchdown.
that's like the point of this
So
game
easy.
is to score touchdown. Let's just do this every time.
Oh.
Is that what we were supposed to be doing all season?
We got it. We're good now. We good.
We're good now.
He's woke.
Watch him lead the NFL in points from here.
That would be the craziest turnaround
Just because.
I think I have ever seen in like a team that's like averaging like what
Anything.
14 points a game, all of a sudden just starts averaging
Yeah.
like 33 points a game.
35.
Yeah, but they look good though. I mean, like the whole
did.
offense was flowing.
Yeah.
No. Oh well. And then Devin Duvernay was once again a Devin Duvernay dud. Devin Duvernay dud.
More like Devin
Duvernay. Oh, that one. I like that one.
We'll edit this out. Don't worry.
Yeah, we got this. Don't worry.
No, we won't.
All right.
No, we
Let's
won't.
move on to the 49ers versus Seahawks. Good news out of Seahawks camp. Kenneth Walker, full participant. So it's looking like he's going to play tomorrow night. Patrick, are we excited that Kenneth Walker's returning?
Oh, very excited. I mean, he's been doing pretty well this season when it comes to fantasy output. So having him not limited today in practice leading up to the game, looking forward to getting him back in the lineups. So see if he can just kind of pick up and keep rolling while the playoffs are starting.
Yeah, it's starting to look like I wasn't as high as I should have been on him coming out. But such
I
is
think
life.
you're in the same boat as a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you were
it happens.
basically asking him to be Nick Chubb. And he's starting to look like he possibly can be. So,
Well, I mean, I think if we're comparing fantasy production, sure, but I mean, Nick Chubb's underlying metrics are Nick studs. But
That's
like,
true.
like if you
That's
ask a lot of the data nerds, Ken Walker just isn't hitting it. And the last time these data nerds were crying wolf, it was on Najee, and Najee's value in Dynasty at least has really fallen. So, you know, I think the safe bet is to say Ken Walker is going to be a fantasy stud for 2022. But beyond, you know, if you're a dynasty manager, you might be looking to sell high.
I probably would be. But for me, I sold my one share before the season even started. Swapped him for Travis Etienne and a Devy pick. Ended up like second round Devy.
I like it for sure.
So it was
It's not bad.
I like the trade. I still like the trade. So
That's what matters.
he hasn't done well enough that I feel like I really didn't do well there. So
I think you did. Good.
You did good, but did good.
Debo, MCL, and mild high ankle sprain. So kind of avoided worst case scenario there. Eric, Shanahan's giving him a 3-week timetable. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is probably at least 3 weeks, and that is to say that he's dealing with not just one MCL, not just one high ankle. It's both, and so both are going to rehab at their own rates, and both have their own re-injury rates that the team is going to have to be cautious of. This is a team that sees themselves as a Super Bowl caliber team, so you know, I think if it takes letting Debo rest one more week in anticipation of playing the long game, they'll do that. They obviously want him out there, but we've said this before on this show, like the team has redundancy on this offense. Debo, Kittle, CMC, they work in the same part of the field. That's great for the offense. That sucks for fantasy production. So I think if they bring Debo back in time for a fantasy playoff game, he's a super risky play. He could be on a snap count. He could get re-injured real quick. But his ceiling is there, so he's going to be tempting to the fantasy owner. But I would definitely, you know, wave the caution flag if that comes into fruition.
Yeah, for sure. And then their now starting quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, is questionable with an oblique injury. So that's actually a little concerning. Anytime a core injury like that, and especially as a QB, you're relying on your core to help with the power to throw the ball. And so that's a little concerning going into this game. And so we'll have to see kind of what his status is. My personal opinion is if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm trying to play no matter what because you've looked great and you're trying to, stay on an NFL roster, or, hey, maybe show the 49ers, maybe I'm the quarterback of the future.
Or at
I mean,
least
we've
the
seen
Jimmy
crazier
G.
things happen.
I could see him be the
Yeah.
Jimmy G 2.0 and be a solid backup to Trey Lance.
Yep. Exactly.
So just keep an eye on that, I guess. See if he's warming up for the game and if he's playing. I like him. I like him as a play this week, I guess, especially against the Seahawks when they're not necessarily the best defense in the world. Seems like this should have the makings of a Thursday night game that's actually kind of exciting to watch.
I
Hope so.
think
See.
I think if he plays, the only implication for fantasy production that I would be thinking about is Brandon Ayuk, because there was the public narrative that Purdy was going to quote unquote feed Ayuk in his last game against Tampa Bay. A number of factors could have been the reason that he did not. I think Ayuk got like 3 targets, but a real factor that I believe in is, we know that Purdy had this injury early in the game. And then, you kind of went through the realization process as the game went on. But if he's sustaining this oblique injury early in the game, that's going to affect his torque and how he can really rotate his trunk and chuck the ball downfield. So this might be an injury that is limiting his ability to, give Ayuk these deep balls. And that's where Ayuk has thrived. I think even his touchdown pass was short. So, if Purdy plays, I think to me, it makes Ayuk a shakier play.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe see a better CMC and Kittle game than
Jordan Mason.
Maybe Jordan Mason. All right. Well, that's enough about the Thursday night game. It'll actually probably be a 7-6 clunker anyway. So, Saturday games this week. That's exciting. Saturday football. How about that? Colts versus Vikings. Really not a whole lot in this game. Or Harrison Smith was a limited participant.
I put that on the show doc because actually one of the physical therapy students that I work with is here from Minnesota. He's a huge Vikings fan, and one thing he told me that it's 4 degrees right now in Minnesota. So yeah, so their TVs are frozen. But one thing that he pointed out to me from last game against the Lions was that Harrison Smith was not in the game, and Harrison Smith on the defensive side of this functions almost like the center fielder. Like he coordinates the defense. He makes sure that the audibles are being called when they need to be called, and that Jamison Williamson touchdown was a huge miss from the rookie that was in instead of Harrison Smith. So basically, if Harrison Smith isn't in this game, I think that makes the deep ball much more vulnerable against this Vikings defense.
Shout out PT student. Good job. Way to help and come through there. Future is bright for that kid. All right. So Vikings, Harrison Smith doesn't play. Maybe Colts can actually make some big plays. There might be some mistakes back there. If he does play, Vikings may not look as shaky on defense as they did versus the Lions. That's kind of the gist there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Ravens versus Browns. Lamar Jackson still not participating. Okay. Huntley concussion, but was full participant today. So I don't think we've seen necessarily that. Unless y'all can think of something where someone put into concussion protocol on Sunday is a full participant on Wednesday. So,
definitely not since before the Tua era.
Yeah. So, but that just shows me Huntley's playing. Like, if he's a full participant today, I mean, why would he not play? I mean, granted, it's the Saturday game, but I would assume this is as if he's a full participant on Thursday. And so.
Well, we've talked about it all season long. Concussions are just one of those things. We have to look at the report. If they're cleared in practice, then most likely they're going to play unless something really random happens.
Right.
But yeah, if he's full participant,
Sure.
he's out there.
Technically hasn't cleared protocol, but all signs look like he will.
Yeah.
That's it. No Browns injuries?
Woo!
All right. Good job, Browns. I mean, Njoku's still
Amari
dealing with
Cooper
some
was
stuff.
limited, but I think he's going to be ready.
Yeah, a couple limited, just kind of maintenance things, it
Yeah.
seemed like, but nothing major. And then Dolphins versus Bills. Bills, healthy. Good job. You all got the bill of health.
Ooh.
Boom-ch. Anyway, Dolphins, other side of it. Basically, injuries everywhere. Let's focus on Tyreek, though. Patrick, he still played last week, even after the ankle injury. And look, decent. I mean, I could tell on some plays it bothered him, but what do we think about his chances this week? And keep in mind, it's supposed to be a snowy game.
Yeah, that, depending on how that actually pans out, might affect us. Now, again, the way they've used Tyreek, short game, he's a gadget guy as well. He can run those end arounds. That being said, ankle, kind of important when it comes to slippery, wet surfaces. Need to be able to plant. But he did, fantasy-wise, put out last week, only 4 catches, but 81 yards, touchdown.
2 touchdowns. He scored on the fumble Rooski.
Oh, the fumble. Always, I forget about that part. Yeah. So, I mean, if he's lining up and the rest of this week participating in practice, you got to play him. I mean, you can't hold him out because of the weather. You would imagine they game plan for the weather and get them involved. So.
And it's worth mentioning, a lot of times on those snowy games, it actually benefits the offense more. Mm-hmm. The main reason we're concerned is because he has the ankle injury. But a lot of times with the offense, when they know where they're going and stuff, it's a lot easier for them than when the defense with the reactions. Typically, you see the defense is more slipping and sliding necessarily than the offense. So you get a lot of huge fantasy games a lot of times on these snow games.
Yeah, and again, you got to imagine training staff. It's going to tape them up. Those cleats, they're going to go with the longer studs, try to get a little bit better traction. I mean, they're professionals. I think he'll be, as long as he's cleared to play, I think he'll do fine this weekend.
I like it. I like it. Let's move on to the Sunday games. We got the Eagles versus Bears, battle of the rushing QBs. But speaking of them, Fields out today with an illness. Now, anytime there's an illness, they really don't tell us what it is anymore. The COVID protocol's gone out the window. So this could be anything from he had a little stomach bug to he had COVID. I mean, we just don't know. Need to keep an eye on it. But, I mean, the fact that it's Wednesday, I think he plays. I don't really think there's a whole lot more to say about that. Now, the interesting part is more on the Eagles side of things. Goddard might return from his shoulder injury. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I as a Goddard owner on my team of destiny, I'm super stoked to hear that he's getting close. But I see no reason for them to fire him up this week. I mean, he sustained a serious injury that is going to impact the stability of that shoulder joint. They're looking at themselves as serious contenders. They're going to play the long game for the duration of the regular season. I suspect that they see this game against the Eagles as one that they can win without Goddard. I feel like they're opening the window for him to practice for sure and to ramp up that way. But I would severely doubt that he starts this week. And if they do, then I wish him well.
Yeah, I think it's all aboard the Goddard train if he does play. But if he doesn't, I think he's back by next week.
Yeah, and next week is the division rivalry against Dallas, which is going to be a game that they want to win. So to me, if you got Goddard coming off of a serious injury, playing the Bears, a game that you think that you can win, next week is a division game against Dallas. You'd let him rest one more week and fire him up against Dallas.
and I'm pretty sure they win these next 2 games, they lock first place up.
That sounds about right.
I think
That would put
so.
them at what, 13-1,
14-1
14-1?
with 2 games to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it locks them up. So just to your point,
Well, if they beat Dallas, isn't
Dallas,
that
they clinched division.
Dallas would be 2 games behind, or I mean, they're already 2 games behind, but y'all know what I mean. Like 2 losses to the Eagles, it's almost impossible to catch up.
Exactly. So again, as far as like holding them out, they may do that just to try to save them for the playoff run.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that'd be smart. Maybe Miles Sanders gets a big game though.
I could see that. I mean, a lot of running backs have been running all over the Bears.
So, good old Miles Sanders.
Oh, Miles Sanders.
Let's move on. Lions versus Jets. Not a whole lot of news in this game, but Jameson Williams, first catch in the NFL, first touchdown in the NFL.
Touchdown.
So far, only catch in the NFL and only touchdown in the NFL, but that's still exciting for this guy, this electric player coming off of this ACL injury, isn't it, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's emulating the Jerry Jeudy. You touch it, it's a touchdown.
I mean,
it's easy.
Why don't these guys just do that more often?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it earlier. It was a severely blown coverage with the rookie safety. But he looked good, and he didn't look limited. Like if you're comparing return from ACL, J.K. Dobbins, one end of the spectrum, Jameson Williams, other end of the spectrum. Williams looked pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like the future for Jameson Williams. I mean, maybe even it's still so risky to try to play him in your fantasy playoffs, but you see that upside.
In a redraft league, you can roast me, but I have Marquise Brown on the bench, dropped him for Jameson Williams.
Not mad about
it.
Going for the upside in the playoffs.
I actually played him in a redraft league last week in a must-win. I still didn't get in. I had to win and other people had to lose, but hey,
but you did your part?
I did my part and I won. That's all I could do.
That's all you could do.
And then DeAndre Swift, full participant.
Yeah,
Swifty.
That's what you want to see. I mean, you can tell every time he's been on the practice report, limited or otherwise, his touches in the following game have been severely lower. The 2 weeks that he has been full participant, as he is this week, he has gone off for monster classic D Swift games. So could be a few factors involved in there, but this is for certain the prerequisite for a monster Swift week.
You know what? I might look into that after and do like the exact, like here's his average touches when he's on the injury report. Here's his average touches when he's been full participant for the week, and maybe tweet it out.
I like it.
That sounds like a pretty exciting stat. And maybe put his fantasy points in those games with it, the average. Anyway, Jets, no injuries. Good job.
Good job, Jets.
Good job, Jets. Well, wasn't Mike White a little banged up, ribs, but nothing.
Yeah, he was, but it doesn't sound like anything serious going into next week at least.
I like that. I like it when those undrafted guys get a
I mean, he toughed it out because he came out for a period of time. I think they said he got X-rays during the game, then went back in, and then got rushed to the hospital afterwards.
Well, were they away?
Yes, they were at the
Bills. I mean, anytime, especially they're away, I feel like with rib injuries, you always hear that they get sent to the hospital, but you're just making sure they don't have any lung damage or something like that, because you don't want them getting on a flight with that long. So, I mean, to our listeners out there, that's usually what's going on with that. So all the sports media usually makes a big deal about it, and it's like, well, they sent him to the hospital afterwards, and he was still playing in the game, but it's more of a precautionary, let's make sure there's no lung damage before we get on a flight, and maybe this guy has a collapsed lung on the flight now because of this.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I just thought of that. Sometimes
Good
I'm
job.
smart.
You're a smart guy.
Sometimes
It's in there.
It's in there. Last
It's
week
in
was
there
rough,
somewhere.
but this week I'm feeling it.
You know how to
Steel-
push buttons.
We'll edit
I
this
do know
out,
how
don't
to
worry.
push people's buttons. That is true.
Yeah.
Let's see. Steelers versus Panthers. Kenny Pickett, concussion protocol. Limited participant today. Means we might see him, we might not. Just depends on if he makes it through.
Yeah.
It's good that he's not a non-participant today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll talk about this in a few, I'm sure. But like, if you're looking at the spectrum of Tyler Huntley concussion, who's now full practice, we're very confident. Russell Wilson concussion, did not practice, not confident, and Pickett concussion, limited practice. Who the hell knows?
I will say, didn't this happen
Sounds about right.
last Sunday? So, I mean, we have seen the NFL kind of err on the side of caution with it. So,
Yeah, you're right. We've been seeing about a 2-week reprieve from playing again. So this would align with that.
So,
Yeah.
might play, might not. Just keep an eye on it. Not a whole lot of people probably playing Kenny Pickett anyway. But maybe for like those Pickens owners and stuff like that they're interested in it. And then Foreman with the kind of foot injury for the Panthers. What's that all about?
I mean, it seems like everything report-wise, he's doing fine. Just last game didn't play very well. Seems like Hubbard just outperformed him, got more snaps, did the job. So be curious how they approach the end of the season because they're not out of the playoffs completely, the Panthers. So
Yeah,
you know,
because
sometimes you think at this stage, are we just going to see what we have on the team? You know, let Hubbard get a few more touches, see where we need to go, or are you still competing week in, week out, and putting your best man forward? So,
yeah, and Hubbard's not bad. He was kind of a highly touted prospect coming out. I mean, he kind of had a down years last year in college and then dropped a little bit in the draft, so like the 4th or 5th round, but he's not a bad player. He's just not necessarily the end all be all running back position.
No.
He sure looked like he was bringing a spark to that offense, and maybe that's all they were looking for. But I think they still gave Foreman 21 touches on the ground, which is huge. You know, if we're asking the question, was this foot injury related? And I think that right there, like Pat said, that that would deny that.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's not spend too much time on the Steelers and Panthers. There's probably not. I mean, unless you're playing Pat Freiermuth in your tight end position, you're probably not playing too many of those players if you're in the fantasy playoffs.
We hope not.
We hope not. If you made it to the playoffs playing with those teams, congratulations. Now to a team that you probably at least have their QB and maybe their tight end, Chiefs.
Jeff Driscoll. Oh, sorry.
Oh, he's actually tight end eligible on Yahoo. Jeff Driscoll is. So we got a little bit of a Taysom Hill situation going on there. But Chiefs versus Texans. McCole Hardman might be back from IR. That's good. Just another weapon for Pat Mahomes to take advantage of and to only score like 8 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think the only commentary there is if you've been following Andy Reid, he came out and he said that Mecole Hardman lost I think the quote was like a bunch of weight, and Mecole Hardman's already not like the biggest dude, and so he's like, look, like we want to get this guy in the field. It sounded like physically he's pretty healthy, but they're waiting for him literally to gain weight. And I don't know if anyone who's listening or any of you guys have like tried to gain significant amount of weight, but it takes time.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's a very weird thing to be doing in season 2, which, I mean, hey, when you lose, if you lose it for an injury, that's one thing, but to try to put on a significant amount of weight, like Eric said, that takes a lot of time.
What was Hardman's injury again?
I think it was abdomen.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Okay, that makes sense on why he would have lost the weight then, because with that you can't really do
anything
much while you're waiting for it to Heel. Okay. That makes sense then. Juju looking well from his concussion.
He's back.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Juju. Bummer for the Texans, though. Dameon Pierce going to be out 1 to 2 weeks with an ankle.
Yep.
The
It
Texans,
is what it is.
They almost upset my Cowboys, but I don't see them winning a game again this year. Cooks not expected to play. I'm pretty sure the Cooks injuries are just, hey, I'm kind of an older receiver. Why put me out there for this lost season?
Yeah, he wanted a trade. He tweeted some cryptic tweets. I think he's done with this season. He's taking a bow.
And maybe done with the Texans.
Oh, for sure.
Might be. Yeah, definitely. Now, I will say Dynasty, his value is kind of low. He's not bad on a good team.
He's been low his whole career.
Very
in
undervalued.
Dynasty.
But he puts, again, when he's playing, he does produce. So if you're looking, if you're already out of playoffs Dynasty, kind of assessing, might be somebody to look at if you need a wide receiver 2, 3. You might be able to get him for a late pick.
If there was, and this actually probably is a thing, a fantasy football Hall of Fame for players, Brandon Cooks would be in it. And he's the player that no one would think would be in it, just based on his fantasy finishes and output throughout his career.
That's true. Yep. He's really good.
I'll give you that.
So I might get that started. I might start making a list of fantasy football Hall of Fame, and maybe we'll have votes on if people get in or not. All right. Off-season idea. Nico Collins did not participate today. That's kind of a bummer for them. He's kind of an exciting young player, and they don't have many exciting young players. So I don't know what more to say about the Texans other than you're probably not playing any of them anyway. Moving on to, God, there are bad games this week. Falcons versus Saints. Mariota put on IR. Desmond Ridder show. Are we excited for Ridder?
As a Drake,
excited to see him.
Yeah, I mean, as a Drake London manager, I think anything is better than status quo. I did want to bring this up with you guys. Desmond Ridder on Keep Trade Cut has skyrocketed to QB 22. He's now valued higher than Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
That's so crazy. I mean, is there a chance he works out? Yes, but I'm not paying that price for that chance.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, that's another name he's above.
I would, if I had him, which I didn't because I didn't draft him anywhere because it's very, 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 very rare that a QB not taken in the first round actually hits.
Right.
I'd be looking to sell now, especially if he comes in and actually has just a somewhat decent game. You don't even need him to have a good game, just a decent game.
That's fair.
And then Juwan Johnson, limited participant, for that brutal tight end position that people need players for.
He's been good, though, prior to injury. Juwan Johnson, surprisingly good. I think he had at least one touchdown in his last 5 games almost.
He's been good. I mean, I think he's a top 12 tight end this year. I'd have to look to be certain, but there's worse players.
I mean, it's not taking much to be top 12 tight end.
There's definitely worse.
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
Ingram, jumped to top 5 after one?
He's 4th now.
4th, yeah. One, I mean, granted, hell of a game, but yeah.
Yeah. Point
crazy.
Made, yeah.
Tight end position is brutal.
Yeah.
I will never draft a tight end in the first 5 rounds ever again. Stamping that down. I don't care. Kyle Pitts burned me too much this year.
I think that's valid.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kyle Pitts can't show out, then nobody can show out early, really.
I think it's just too much of a risk, and I don't think the reward was there. Because even Andrews, we're going off on a tangent here about tight ends, but even Andrews, who people took in the second, third round, and he is the tight end 2 on the season, wasn't worth taking where you took him.
Right. Yeah, I think next year is going to be the same thing, though. Kelsey will be that one guy you might do just because how the draft falls to you, depending where you're at. But after this year, you're right. I'd stay away from the tight end in the first few rounds and just get the top guys out.
Just stream it and
Yeah.
whatever. It's not
Hope you catch fire with one guy and
right.
yeah.
Cowboys versus Jags. No real injuries to talk about, but the Cowboys signed T.Y. Hilton. So good for him. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
I like T.Y.
Good for him.
Cardinals versus Broncos. I'm sorry. What?
Well, I was going to ask. I mean, as a Cowboys fan, is that meaningful at all?
No, it's just a depth piece that they're trying to find that third receiver that can make a play or two in a game.
So Gallup, Noah Brown, they're both still.
Well, you got CD, you got Gallup. Those are your top 2.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Brown can make a play here or there, and then you're still throwing to Schultz.
And then Pollard.
I think it's more of okay, if someone does go down, so say Gallup gets hurt, who do we got?
Okay.
I think it spoke more for Odell Beckham's
for sure.
return from injury than it did anything.
Yeah.
I like that he's going out in public and he's now kind of doing the like, you can't fire me, I quit. Like that's basically his message. He's like I might not want to play this year at all, actually.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah. He's something. Once a diva, always a diva, right?
Yeah, I do wish him well, but this is not looking good for him.
Yeah, getting kicked off planes and whatnot. Just a mess. Anyway, Cardinals versus Broncos. Kyler Murray, torn ACL. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on it. He's done for the season. We know that. We'll have a show in the off season sometime where we talk about his return. Kind of other news, Rondale Moore got put on IR. I think that was more of a testament to once the Kyler injury happened, they were like, and we're done for the season.
Yep.
So, which kind of sucks because Rondale Moore's been actually pretty good this year, all things considered. I mean,
yeah, he's had some bright spots.
Mm-hmm.
Promising.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, the injury history at this point definitely doesn't help his cause. And these are the kind of injuries that pop up year in and year out. So I think I would be very cautious.
It's a lot of soft tissue injuries.
Yeah,
dating back to college.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he's a good buy low. Is what I mean to say.
No, he's kind of one of those guys that's just stuck on your roster right now. Like, you're not going to sell him for anything worth value, and you're not like.
Would you try to package him during a rookie draft to see if you can move up in a spot? Is 100%. That kind of where you're at? Yeah,
I would. I mean, it also depends on how much you're trying to move up. I mean, but if you're going to move up, let's say from like the 201 to maybe the 108, 109, it'd probably take a little bit more than just Rondale Moore, but maybe you could take him, some other player as well, package it and move up.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the way I've been trying to do Dynasty lately is just if I just don't see the player being able to be in my lineup week in, week out, injury history, I'm trying to just get them off my squad.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm getting at too.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't trust you, especially with these soft tissue injuries. Like we've talked about it with Debo. I'm looking to sell him this offseason.
This injury hurts. I was in some trade talks and then that happened. And
right. It's gonna burn a lot of people because they were looking forward to him for fantasy playoffs.
Kyle Pitts, the MCL is a soft tissue. If you want to trade me Kyle Pitts.
That is fair. when I say soft tissue, I mean more musculature and stuff like
the
that.
MCL is soft.
Very soft.
Moving on. We'll edit this out.
Kyle Pitts' knee is soft. Kyle Pitts is soft.
Yeah.
That's all I heard. Kyle Pitts is soft and doesn't want to play. Good job, Eric.
He's gonna find you and punch you in the face.
And that would be valid. That would be very valid.
Yeah.
You're like, I deserved it. I'm sorry.
It's fair.
Russell Wilson concussion protocol, non-participant Wednesday. Talked about it once, talked about it 100 times. Non-participant on Wednesday, not looking good for Sunday. So don't think we need to spend too much time on it. Sutton not participating. That hurts him, but maybe good for Judy, right, Patrick?
Good for Judy. Yeah, I mean, we saw it last weekend. Sutton couldn't line up, so Judy had himself a day. So we'll see how it comes out this week against the Cardinals. And again, as they're kind of looks like they might be punting on the season, we'll see how everything lines up with them, what they do on the defensive side too with some of their better players. Again, it gets to that point of the season. Some of these teams might start rotating more. So defenses may be a little more suspect.
The tough part for the Broncos is they don't have their first round pick though.
Yeah.
So it's like we still want to win because we don't want to give Seattle that. I mean, Seattle has a top 5 pick right now.
Right. And that it's an underlying thing that they have to play for, outside of just pride and leading the league in offense over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think all points are true. If I were them, I would take these weeks to really try out some new play calling because that has been a point of contention all season. And now you're risking nothing. I mean, you're not playing for the playoffs. You're not playing for a good first round pick. So try something and find something to work for next year.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. Patriots versus Raiders. This one actually has some implications here for fantasy players. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson not participating today with his ankle injury. He got hurt early in the game, then came back, then was ruled out later. That's tough. What are we doing if Ramondre can't go, Eric?
I mean, I think if you're really banking on a running back from the Patriots, my first go would be Pierre Strong. I mean, just watching him, I thought he looked really good. But I truly believe that this is going to be a backfield by rotation. They may ride the hot hand. I think this is totally unexpected for this offense. And Bill Belichick has been known to, not, be a workhorse running back guy. So it's really tricky. And you're just going to be rolling the dice if this is something that you're banking on.
Yeah, agreed. Jacoby Myers, limited participant today from his concussion. So possible return there. Devontae Parker, though, now out with the concussion. And I didn't see this till today, but Nelson Aguilar is actually the one that got the rest to stop the game for Devontae Parker. So because he got rocked, got up wobbly.
He lined up for the next play.
Yeah, was lining up for the next play, and Aguilar's just...
He did not look good. Yeah.
No, he did not.
It definitely didn't look like he was lining up that correctly. I think that's where Aguilar saw him and was like, no.
And so, shout out Aguilar. Way to look out for...
Good teammate.
Good teammate there. Boo, NFL, that's how, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Y'all have a spotter. Y'all have the that is y'all's job.
He went down. You could definitely see in that replay. You could just tell. I don't know how this.
And I get it. It's easier.
It looked bad. Yeah.
It's easier for us to rewind and say, "Well, he's getting up," but that's your job. You're sitting there watching the play. He gets rocked, and you're supposed to be watching for him to get up wobbly, and you radio down to the refs, and that didn't happen. It was Aguilar that.
Yep.
That stopped it. Anyway, I'll get
angry on the notes of Aguilar, I think that a nice little factoid that I came across was that in a lot of games where Jacoby Myers has been out, Aguilar has filled in really nicely in terms of targets and receptions and to a degree yards. So I think he holds more value this week in PPR leagues. I wouldn't expect, anywhere near a 100-yard game, but I think that he's going to get more volume relative to this Parker injury and potentially Jacoby Myers not being back as well.
Sure. And then Raiders side of things, both Waller and Renfro are active practicing now. So might not play this week, but could possibly play this week. So the big question is, one, is this good for the Raiders, or does it just kind of hurt Devontae Adams and maybe Josh Jacobs to some extent and other players you might be relying on? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of torn. If they line up, it's targets going to a couple other guys, so Adams may get a few less. We'll see how Jacob does with it. But on the other hand, it's more guys the defense has to prepare for. So, it could open things up. Kind of a tough one to see how it goes.
Yeah, I follow that definitely for the passing game. I mean, they're not able to bracket Devonta Adams as hard, whereas like the next guy up would be Mac Hollins. Right. Hunter Renfrow has been very good. Waller, when healthy, very good and a target hog. So I vibe. It's so tough to tell on offense. It might help them fantasy wise. Who knows? But Josh Jacobs is bona fide, gonna get the ball. They're running him like a workhorse. Like they don't expect him to be back in 2023. I mean, I think he did something to his finger and they buddy taped it and they just put him back out there, even though they were smashing in that game.
Get back out there.
Yeah.
Carry that ball.
He dislocated it.
They did not care about this dude one bit. I didn't think that they needed to put him out there, but they did. So I think with these guys returning, it just puts Devonta Adams in question, but Josh Jacobs is going to get the rock.
Sounds good. Yep, sounds good. Titans versus Chargers game. Allen, Mike White, Everett, they all look good. Didn't notice any favoring from any of them. They all made some plays.
Yeah.
So good job, Chargers. And
exciting to see.
Interesting to note, Titans are very bad against the pass game.
Ooh,
and the Chargers are very bad against the run game. So this could be an interesting game with Derrick Henry running against the Chargers and
receiving against the Chargers. And
Jesus, anyway. Titans side of things, Burks, non-participant again today with his concussion. So that's kind of a bummer. It's been a week and a half at this point, and if he's still non-participant, that's not great. So
yeah, he's on that 2-week pattern.
On that 2-weeker.
He got 2 weeks.
I had that 1 week concussion. He got that 2 week concussion.
Is that what you sound like after you have a concussion?
I guess. I don't know.
like is anyone listening to this guy? I think he has a concussion.
What?
We'll edit this out. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. Anyway, Bengals versus Bucks. Those freaking Bengals. T. Higgins. It was Thursday he propped up with the hamstring issue in practice, so we didn't get to talk about it. But it just goes to show, I mean, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but any late week hamstring injuries, I don't think I'm playing the guys. Because apparently he re-aggravated it in warm-ups and then just didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, it always comes back to how your team looks fantasy-wise, and do you have someone you can fill them in that you can at least expect bare minimum floor output of what Higgins could produce, right? So if you have that option, just like you said, if it pops up late, switch him out, bench him, go with the guy who most likely will play a full game. But he did one snap?
He did get one snap. Apparently he snuck out there for it.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want him on the field at all.
So, no, I agree with you, though. Those late week injury pop ups got to be a little cautious with playing those guys.
Yeah. Tyler Boyd back at practice. So that's good. What was it? A finger injury, Eric?
Yeah. I mean, they both went out. This one was a finger injury. The Bengals cared about Tyler Boyd, so they did not throw him back out into the game, unlike Josh Jacobs and the Las Vegas Raiders. But they both look super healthy. I think both of these teams, frankly, are just trending in opposite directions, both in terms of momentum and injury health.
Yep. Hayden Hurst, unlikely to play. Just more targets for the receivers there. Perine still looking decent, even with Mixon returning. So maybe you can play Perine as a flex player, Patrick?
Yeah, I can't say enough. Depends on your roster. But yeah, I mean, if he's on that flex radar, yeah, you might be able to throw him out there against the Bucs. I mean, again, the Bucs are just. I really don't know what to expect from the Bucs, honestly.
Bucs are going to make the playoffs with a losing record.
For sure. OBJ will sign with them. They'll play the Cowboys, and he'll score the winning touchdown, knock you guys out of the playoffs. But anyways.
Just to spite him.
Yeah, just because. But yeah, no.
Checks out.
I'd be fine playing Perine in the flex, depending, again, other options on your roster. Would it be that risky of a play the way they showed out last week?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then Tristan Wirfs is out, right, Eric?
Yeah, and that's kind of a big deal because Tom Brady has not looked like himself, especially with the deep ball game this season. And I think a large part of it has to do with the health of the offensive line. Tom Brady is an older quarterback, and he's one of the most pure pocket passing quarterbacks. So, you want this offensive line to be super healthy and consistent in the way that they're used to working together. Tristan Wirfs, he's an all-pro offensive lineman. So I think it just, it bodes even worse for the Bucs in this game.
Yeah, that's not good for the Bucs. They just look bad.
Yep.
Yeah. So, battle of NFC East, possible playoff implications here. Maybe we just get another tie. Giants versus Commanders.
Why not?
Giants, honestly, their wide receivers for streaming's not bad. I mean, I mentioned it the other day in our little group chat. Darius Slayton, since week 6, has outscored Gabriel Davis. And so I don't know if I don't know if that's really good for Darius Slayton or more speaks to the ineptitude of Gabriel Davis. But I mean, it's a fact.
I love that face right now.
Richie James looks good.
Yeah, but he's got a concussion, so he's out.
He got that 2-week concussion.
Yeah. Richie James, Pat, your pride and joy, is out this week. But Isaiah Hodgins, I mean, I would feel mildly comfortable streaming Isaiah Hodgins. He outplayed Slayton last week against Philadelphia Eagles.
And he did do well against the Redskins 2 weeks ago as well.
Hey, that's the Washington Commanders now. Come on,
man, I always mess that up.
Right.
Well, that's how you know we're local native fans. It's in our hearts.
Yeah,
it's in our blood.
Unfortunately,
How about that? 2 O linemen are out. That's not good for the Giants.
Yeah, I mean we have a good D line. Really, that's like if we have a strength, it's our D line. So this is something that I think the Giants have struggled with all year, or a lot of the year, especially of late. But if it's just 2 this week, then that's actually better than a lot of weeks.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
and of note, Chase Young, I believe, was a limited participant today. So we'll see how he keeps coming back from his recovery.
Yeah.
Just adds to that defensive line there.
Yeah. And they have a cornerback. Adoree Jackson's out.
Yeah, I think that to me that bodes well for McLaurin, who's been the favorite of Heineke. Possible Jahan Dotson sighting, but really, I think I would have more confidence in McLaurin's game.
F1. I love McLaurin. And I'm just now seeing this. Wandale just had ACL surgery.
Yeah, I threw that on there during the show because I did not realize that Wandale. What has it been, like 3-4 weeks now since his?
It's almost been a month. That was the same thing when Saquon tore his ACL. They waited.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if that's a Giants thing, like their medical staff thing.
I mean, that really could be for sure. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have medical opinions across the board, but a lot of times it's just because of the amount of swelling and a bit more complication, in terms of the exact injury. So I think if you're looking for any trend line on Wandale's recovery, to me, the trend line just points down a little bit more.
That's tough, but might make him a value maybe in Dynasty and maybe even redraft next year. Probably won't even get drafted in redraft.
Oh, for sure. Because you got to think about his return to play timeline. I mean, he's going to miss time.
Oh, yeah.
Give me him into that last round of best balls next year.
I like that.
I'll take it.
Oh, I like that.
Put it on the board. Sorry, that's the wrong show.
Put it on the board.
We'll edit that out. I'm probably going to get a cease and desist now.
Yeah.
Giants.
A lot of editing.
They also have, Bellinger. He was limited participant. That's good. I like Bellinger. It's good to see him returning too from everything.
I like him too. Yeah.
And then Saquon, full participant.
Good job.
Good old Saquon. He's kind of been going downhill later in the season, but I don't think it's really been his fault. A lot of injuries across the board and not a whole lot of other people to get the ball to. So, for the Commanders, I'll turn it over to resident Commanders fans here. And Gibson has a foot injury and Brian Robinson has a quad injury. They're both limited participants. So kind of the dual running backs there and maybe in trouble. What are we thinking?
Not worried.
Okay.
Personally, I'm not. I mean, I know they're coming off a bye, and to still be on an injury report says something, but late season, same thing applying, just giving them an extra day of, rest. So I think they will be good to go.
All right. Sounds good. Both top 12 running backs?
Top 15?
Oh.
I'll give you I will give you both at top 15.
That's still bold.
Yeah, that's a little spicy. I like it though.
I was thinking like maybe top 30 for both.
We'll circle back. We'll circle back.
Dollar bet.
All right. We'll hold it to you. Monday night game. Real go-getter here of a Monday night game. Looks more like a Thursday night game. Rams versus Packers. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about here, but Walford's out, Mayfield in. He was exciting.
For one drive.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes that's all you need.
It
is
was
that one
literally
drive.
What they needed. Yeah. But he did not. I didn't think he looked great.
No, he didn't. But he also got there 2 days before.
I was going to say.
No disrespect. I mean, I mean to say like that was an impressive win. But if you're looking to start him as Baker Mayfield namesake, I would hesitate.
No, even Superflex. I'm not. No.
Yeah.
And then Romeo Doubs should be returning. So Packers getting that receiver help. And so I think it's worth mentioning. Romeo Doubs looked pretty good earlier in the season before he got hurt. I mean, he wasn't scoring all the touchdowns that Christian Watson's doing now, but he had a solid start to the season.
He definitely had rapport with Aaron Rodgers, and we know Aaron Rodgers to be one of the quarterbacks where that matters. Like if he doesn't trust you, he will not look your way. So I think that just takes a bit more of the looks away from Christian Watson. But Christian Watson he's the Jerry Jeudy on that team. He touches the ball, it's a touchdown.
Easy.
So.
I mean, honestly, it's crazy.
So easy.
Well, that does it for all the games, guys. So good job. Good work. Good work. I'm
You
proud of
made it.
both of y'all.
Good
I'm
job,
proud of
guys.
both of y'all.
Pat on the
Uh,
back.
Do we have any flag plants this week? Patrick, let's start with you.
I don't know if you guys will count this. George Kittle
I'll count it.
with Debo going out. I think because again, tight end position, it's been wasteland. He has not kind of lived up, I think, to what people expect out of Kittle. I think this week he puts a good showing out. I think he actually can. Not saying much, but top 5 tight end.
Well, my flag plant kind of goes with yours. Brock Purdy. I think he plays, and I think he has another good game. And I think there's definitely worse QBs you could be playing in the fantasy playoffs right now. Baker Mayfield, for example. So I'd fire up Brock Purdy. Obviously, depends on your team, but I'm not sitting like a known stud for him. But if you've been kind of streaming that QB, or maybe you have Lamar Jackson that's injured and doesn't look like he's going to play this week, and he can do worse than Brock Purdy.
Let me throw one out there. Brock Purdy or Derek Carr?
Ooh.
Who are the Raiders playing again? Versus the Patriots?
Ooh.
I'm probably playing Brock Purdy.
Ooh.
That's what I did. I got him lined up in my super flex.
Spicy. I like it.
I'm probably playing Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Eric, who's your flag plant?
I alluded to my flag plant of the week earlier in the show. That's called foreshadowing. My flag plant is Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell for the Indianapolis Colts is going up against one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They are bad at man coverage. They are bad at zone coverage. And apparently, keystone to this very bad defense is still a limited participant. I forget that safety's name, but you want him in the lineup if you're the Vikings. I'm not certain that he's going to play, and if he does play, I'm not certain that he's 100%. So Paris Campbell is capable of volume on this offense, and he has put up some top 10 weeks this season, believe it or not. I think he's the home run play, the Jameson Williams, if you will, for this offense this week.
Sure. I'll take it. Paris Campbell's been pretty solid this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, real quick, I got a surprise for y'all. We're doing trivia this week. I miss doing it. We're not going to count it for points or anything like that, but
It'll be the one I get.
You know what, Patrick? If you get them, we'll give you some points. So, my first question, it's actually a 3-parter. Three separate questions, and they're all having to do with Kyler Murray because he's the big injury this week. My first question is, what high school did Kyler Murray play for? And if you need a little hint, he is a Texas hero here. So, anybody?
The Longhorns. I don't know.
No idea.
All right. Well, Allen High School. It's basically one of the biggest schools in Texas, and if you saw their stadium, it's put some college, actually a lot of college stadiums to shame.
They do they recruit as a high school?
In the letter of the law, no. Actually, what they do is, so Allen literally, like, their high school class have like 1,500 kids each in them. What they do is they refuse to break their high school apart and make smaller high schools throughout the town because they want all the athletic excellence going there.
Man, that sucks though for the bookworms.
Like if I would have grown up in Allen, I would have never touched the court, the field, anywhere. Like I just couldn't have.
Yeah, but that's Kyler Murray.
Yep. So anyway, moving on real quick. What was Kyler Murray's record in high school?
12-0.
You're not far.
His entire high school career?
His entire high school career.
Oh.
16-2.
No. Eric, I'll give you it because you were closer. He was actually 42-0 over 3 seasons as the starter.
42-0.
at Allen High School.
He
So
doesn't lose. The dude doesn't
he
lose.
never lost in high school.
Unless he's losing his ACL. He lost that.
He did lose that,
Love,
unfortunately.
love, love, love.
One last one. I think we all know he played at Oklahoma, but
He
he
did?
actually went to another school his freshman year. What school did he go to first?
I'm going to say something local, like Texas.
Close, but no cigar.
Texas A&M.
There it is.
Ah!
Good job, Patrick. We're giving Patrick a point. We're giving
me
him
a
a point.
No!
I'm back in.
He's back on the board. He's still behind everyone, but he's catching up now. So,
No
all
naked
right,
pile.
that does it for my trivia. I wanted to bring it back because I missed doing it, and it's been a while. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys. This was fun today.
Always.
Yeah, good job,
Always
man.
A
fun.
lot of good information here. Let's end it. Patrick, any final thoughts, and where can people find you?
People can find me at PMDeli19. This face does not match that face, just as a heads up. Yes, Matt, your face.
It
No,
does match my
honestly,
face.
excited for the fantasy playoffs. Everybody who's in them, good luck. If you're in dynasty leagues and you're in that losers bracket, pay attention to how your team sets up your draft picks for next year. If you got to compete to win to get top pick, just double check it. Don't forget about it. Other than that, let's see how the playoffs turn out.
Awesome. Eric,
Yep.
any last thoughts? Where can people find you?
I am the Nighthawk PT. You can find me on Twitter at FF_Nighthawk.
Awesome. And I'm Matt at Fantasy Ferret on Twitter. I try very hard to keep it all fantasy football related information on that account. So follow me there if you love fantasy football. Anyway, that does it. Good show, everyone.
Good show.
Adios.